Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we will be talking about who Kamala Harris will pick as her vice presidential running mate and why it matters so much. Now, when Donald Trump picked his running mate of J.D. Vance, the senator from Ohio, it really wasn't, that important to the campaign, at least at that time. At that time, it was the Republican National Convention. Biden was still the Democratic presumptive nominee. And, Trump was crushing Biden in all the polls. He was going to win all the swing states and maybe even flip from some blue states. So Donald Trump's thinking then was, I'm going to win this election regardless, even if he might not help the ticket that much. Let me pick a loyalist who won't get me in a situation like a Mike Pence situation on January 6th where he went. And now there are reports from inside the Trump camp that he deeply regrets that pick, and for good reason. Now we have Harris as the nominee. The election is a whole lot closer. Harris might actually win if the election were held tomorrow, and now she gets to pick her VP. Now, this wasn't like 2020, where Biden had promised to pick a woman, where he was pressured to pick an African-American woman, to unify the party. This time around, Harris has a wide range of people that she could pick from. There is a wide bench of candidates that she could choose, and really all of them are all of them are pretty positive picks, at least the realistic ones. So we have Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg, the Governor of Kentucky Andy Beshear, the Governor of North Carolina Roy Cooper, a Senator from Arizona Mark Kelly, the Governor of Illinois J.B. Pritzker, the Secretary of Commerce Gina Raimondo. I don't know. I really doubt that Harris will pick this guy, but I won't even mention him. He won't be the pick. The Governor of Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro, and then the Governor of Minnesota, Tim Walz. And then I don't know why she isn't up here, but Gretchen Whitmer is also being considered she declined, but whatever. People say that until they actually accept. So these are the candidates for VP. And yeah, as I said, Donald Trump chose J.D. Vance, and considering these awkward moments that J.D. Vance has on the campaign trail, in a stark contrast really to Trump, they don't seem like they match or vibe very well. I think that Donald Trump is really regretting J.D. Vance because he does not add anything to the ticket. He definitely only weakens the ticket, especially in the case of a vice presidential debate, because really any of these Democrats, it seems like, would kind of, wipe the floor with J.D. Vance. So let's go through these people and who I think are the strongest and who I think are the weakest. So the very strongest, I believe. Now, we are not just looking at their policy or how they would do nationwide, but we have to look at the map as well. The electoral map plays such a significant part. So, who I think is probably the most beneficial to the ticket is the governor of Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro. So, Josh Shapiro, his approval rating in Pennsylvania, he has one of the highest approval ratings in the country, and Pennsylvania is an incredibly close swing state. Biden only won it by 1.2. It went to Trump in state. It means that he is a very likable, an accomplished figure. I believe that, throughout the nation, Josh Shapiro would help the Biden-Harris ticket. Seems very mature. He would crush J.D. Vance in a debate, it seems like, as most of these people do. Josh Shapiro is very well spoken, and he is a strong Zionist. He is a hardcore defender and supporter of Israel, and which is beneficial to the ticket because Kamala Harris is really not the most pro-Israel. She called for a ceasefire, and is way months and months ago, and she is seen as much more pro-Palestine than Biden. So to these more moderate, older voters, Josh Shapiro would be a good balance when it comes to the issue of Israel. So that, that's the picture nationwide. But what really helps is the map. In Pennsylvania, I have full confidence with a Harris-Shapiro ticket that they would win the blue states of Minnesota, Nebraska 2nd, New Mexico, New Hampshire, Maine, Virginia. And then you get down to your, 6, 7 critical battleground states. Whoops, Maine 2nd goes to Trump. And then So yeah, as I said, you come down to your 7 critical battlegrounds. Harris looks really good in Michigan right now. It, I don't see really any possibility that Wisconsin goes to Harris at this point. I think that the southwestern states in Nevada and Arizona are going to Trump. I don't really see Harris faring well in this region. And then you come down to Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Georgia. Let's assume, especially with Roy Cooper off the ticket, that North Carolina goes to Trump, comes down to Pennsylvania and Georgia. Now, this is where it matters so much. If Josh Shapiro is on the ticket, considering how popular he is, Harris probably locks down Pennsylvania. And then you have a toss-up election and everything comes down to Georgia. I could see Harris very well winning it, and she wins the election. So, Georgia and Pennsylvania and Michigan, winner of the election right there. Pennsylvania is huge. Out of the 7 swing states, the ones that I had toss up before, Pennsylvania has the most electoral votes. So Pennsylvania is huge, especially when you consider, again, that they have the most electoral votes. But you have, that's who I think would be the strongest. Now, another strong candidate, I believe, would be Roy Cooper. He doesn't have as much charisma as people like Josh Shapiro and Tim Walz and Andy Beshear. He's more of a boring guy, but really, that's fine. I don't see him, destroying J.D. Vance in the debate as much as others like Josh Shapiro or Tim Walz. However, he is important when it comes to the state of North Carolina because he is also a very popular governor, and he is an outgoing governor. If Harris can get North Carolina, if she can narrowly win the state of North Carolina, then that opens the map tremendously. Remember, Biden did not carry North Carolina, so it is a difficult task even with Roy Cooper on the ticket. But Harris, being an African American woman, definitely possible. So if North Carolina does go blue, then they have such a larger path to victory. Then all you need is Michigan and then one other. Pennsylvania is definitely the most likely. That puts you over 270 electoral votes, and you can just let Trump take the state of Georgia. The last really strong, or really there are 2 more really strong candidates. One, I believe, is Tim Walz. Now, Tim Walz is by far the most progressive of these choices. He probably outflanks Bernie to the left, being realistic. He has done so much action, so many initiatives in a very slim majority in the state legislature in Minnesota, and he is regarded by progressives, by Democrats, as the most popular or one of the best or the best governor in America according to them. Now they have Minnesota, so it's really more of a picture of the nationwide sort of thing with Tim Walz. But Tim Walz, he has that Rust Belt appeal, or that Midwest appeal, I should say. But I believe that Tim Walz, out of any of these people, would wipe the floor with J.D. Vance in a debate more than anyone else on this list. I think that overall, he really. Now, if Harris hasn't energized the Democratic base, Tim Walz certainly would. Really gets progressives who are kind of weary on Harris about her record as prosecutor, really gets those types of lefties to the Democratic ticket. That's a winning ticket right there. Harris Walz, Tim Walz would be an extraordinary pick. Don't know why I said it like that. And then there is one more really strong person, that stands out to me on this list, that being Andy Beshear. Now, again, the map, Roy Cooper and Josh Shapiro would be really good picks because of the map, as well as them being overall good picks. But like Tim Walz, Andy Beshear doesn't help much when you look at each individual state. He is from the state of Kentucky, but it is a red state. He can make this case. He's very good at making lefty, progressive cases to, conservative audiences. That's how he won in Kentucky, which voted for Trump by 31%, 30 or 26% in 2020. So Andy Beshear, lots of charisma, young guy. Notice, Beshear and Shapiro young, not so much Roy Cooper. Tim Walz is the same age as Harris, actually. And then you've got the weaker picks. Obviously, Gina Raimondo. I don't know why she's even being considered. So bland and boring. Doesn't have any charisma. Doesn't appeal to literally anyone. And, there's the caution. You might have noticed the strongest candidates that I noted for Harris are straight white men. And that's just a fact. It adds a level of normalcy to the ticket. Kamala Harris is an African American woman. That is enough change for most voters, I feel. Most voters will feel that way. So a straight white male will add, more normal balance to the ticket. And yeah, that is why they are the strongest candidates. Now, having two women on the ticket, very risky. Having an African American man or woman on the ticket, very risky. Having a gay man, Pete Buttigieg, on the ticket, that is also very risky. I don't think that any of these people, Pete Buttigieg, Gina Raimondo, or Mr. Richmond, would be very strong picks at all. I also, Gretchen Whitmer as a presidential candidate at the top of the ticket with a white male as a running mate, that would be a strong ticket, but, Harris Whitmer, I don't think, again, two women on the ticket would be particularly successful at all. So that's where I think things stand. Again, the best picks in order. I'm just going to rank these people in order. Josh Shapiro, number 1. I guess I'm going Tim Walz, honestly, number 2, because overall he does help in those Rust Belt states, not just North Carolina, like Roy Cooper, who is number 3. So Shapiro, Walz, Cooper, 1, 2, and 3. Number 4, you got to go Andy Beshear for sure. Number 5, I didn't mention Pritzker and Kelly. They're very mediocre type of candidates. But number 5, I would go Mark Kelly because he does add a chance in the state of Arizona. But that's probably going to trump either way, to be honest. You kind of need a governor as your VP to lock it down rather than a senator. So he's number 5. Number 6 is going to be J.B. Pritzker. Number 7 is Pete Buttigieg. Number 8, Mr. Richmond. And number 9 would be Gina Raimondo. So that's my thoughts on the situation. Let me know what you think in the comments. But thank you all for watching this video. If you enjoyed, make sure to subscribe down below. Helps a lot. We're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers. Drop a like as well, and I will see you all next time.